Armando,
Hey guys,
hey,
hey, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm
Long time
great.
no talk, right?
I was just talking to them about precious metals, and I wanted to leave the Bitcoin halving up to you. I was just about to get into it, but I'm happy to let you tell everybody what's going on with the Bitcoin halving.
Okay, yeah. So basically, we'll just explain what's happened, right? So, so Bitcoin has a set amount, right? A set amount that ever be created, ever can be created. That's 21 million, right? So every day, uh, every 10 minutes, 12 and a half Bitcoins get created towards that number, right? Towards the 21 million. So what's going to happen next week is that every 10 minutes, 12 and a half Bitcoins get created. So they're going to cut that supply in half. So only 6.25 Bitcoin is going to be created every 10 minutes after May, I think it's 11th. So what that's going to do, supply and demand, the way economics works, is that if you cut the supply, demand remains the same, the price goes up. It's pretty simple exercise in economics, right? It's pretty straightforward, but we just want to make sure we get, the information out there so people know what's happening.
Yeah, some people don't understand that it, Bitcoin is created to be quite the opposite of, you know, I guess what the dollar is doing. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
Bitcoin is created to basically go up in value in time, whereas the dollar goes down in value. So
exactly.
in order to keep that value going up, um, the creators of Bitcoin um, her, him,
Or
um,
him, it. I say it sometimes. It could be an
it,
it.
it created halving every few years. I think it's every 4 years, in order to keep, the value going up. And that's what makes Bitcoin so valuable, because the supply will be lower than the demand. If people do want the same amount of Bitcoin or more after this halving, of course, not as many people want Bitcoin after this halving. That's a different story. But so far, the last two halvings, the value of Bitcoin has gone up. Not immediately after, actually, immediate after it dropped,
It
but
always drops
usually
right after. Yeah.
about a year after, the value would skyrocket
A
after
year,
the
year and
last
a half
two
of
halvings.
time. So the first time it was like a 40 times increase. Second time it was like 20. So, and maybe, I'm thinking about 10 times. So a lot of analysts say it's going to go to, about 100,000. And I agree. I think we'll be, in a year, year and a half from now, we'll be at $100,000 Bitcoin.
It is very likely that that can happen. Yes, absolutely. We don't know because we've never had a halving during a pandemic before.
Right.
So
That's a variable, right?
yeah, this is a variable that we haven't experienced before. But I think it was like a whole year and a half after the last halving, we reached the all-time high of 20,000. And then the one before that, it took about a year for it to, go up 40 times. So there is I think it's long-term benefits to this. Some people will look at this like, I want quick money, and that I'm not going to tell people that that will happen. Because I think initially it might go down a little because people are wanting to take profits and, you know,
Exactly. It's just like anything else. Gold, stocks, or whatever. People buying the rumors, selling the news, right? So they're buying right now up until the event happens. And when the event happens, everybody's going to sell. So that happens every time. It's nothing new. It's like, so it's going to be. I think it's going to be a dip right after the halving. Probably what's today? We got like 11 days, I think. So right after that, probably 2 weeks now, it is going to be a drop, right? But it'll recover slowly, like
yeah,
you said, over the next year, year and a half.
it's long term. This is a long term thing. I think crypto in general is a long term hold, for the top five, in my opinion. Of course, talk to me about what you think. But I believe the best way to work cryptocurrency, and again, this is all opinion based, but the most successful people have held Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency the longest, and they were most successful. And then if they want to trade, then they take 15% of their holdings or whatever and trade with it. What do you think? What's
Yeah, I
your
mean, like, I agree with you. I think it's a long term hold. If people want to day trade this and stuff, that's okay. But But I mean, it's a lot easier. And Warren Buffett says this about investing. It's easier to do long-term holds. It's a lot easier. You don't have to make decisions every day. You make one decision and you wait it out, right? So it's just easier to invest like that, right? So that's what I do with cryptocurrencies. You buy it and forget it. You know, my plan is a 2, 3, 4 year plan. You know, and I'm not trying to, sell anything next week or next month or even next year. I'm holding it out, into the end. So I think I mean, the technology behind it is what I'm interested in. A lot of people don't understand that is that the technology behind it is so sound that there's no way it can go down, right? I mean, and I hate to say this because, people go around saying, it's only two things that can happen to Bitcoin. It either goes up in value or nobody uses it again. It's two things, right? Because what happens after the halving is that the miners now get less Bitcoins, right? So they're going to be, the only way the miners can stay in business is if the price goes up. That's it, right? It's other variables there too, but it's the system is created in a way with all these interconnected people and variables that it has to go up. It has to. Like the dollar goes down, you're right, it drops. Bitcoin has to go up for it to be successful. Right. It has to.
Right.
And, whoever Satoshi is created that in the initial system.
Yeah, she was brilliant.
Some people say he or she. Could be a she, could be a he. I think it sounds crazy, but it could be. I was telling my friend about that this morning. I think it may be like an artificial intelligence. I may be out there a little bit. Could be, it may not be a person at all. It seems kind of weird.
Yeah, we never know, but they definitely created a pretty airtight system, and they really thought about almost everything.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of weird for one man to do,
Or woman.
Yeah, or woman. I keep saying that.
Or team.
Or team. It seemed like it'd be more likely that a team did.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too, because there's just so much that they thought of these halvings. They thought of the mining difficulty, they thought of the transactions, they thought of the mining reward, and they thought of so much.
Everything. Yeah.
And long term too, not just, let's try to make some quick money off this Bitcoin thing. They thought really long term on this. And then of course having a finite supply, making sure that it's always going up in value, which is what this halving is for. Do you like to call it halving or halvening?
I call it halvening, but I've noticed a lot of people are saying halving now. But I've been calling it halvening for years.
Technically, I think it's halving, but people like to call it halvening because it sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, I know. I've called it halvening since the last 6, 7 years. So I still call it the halvening. But like I said, I think most like professional people say